Hey everybody, Economic Ninja here. I hope you're doing well. I don't have that much time on the internet to warn people. I don't think anyone on the internet warning people about economic collapse has a lot of time. And this is why. There's a story to Zero Hedge. And I am going to, before I talk about it, I'm going to, and this is something out of China, but this is something that's going to come here to the US, I believe. And I'm going to use a story from 2008. After the Great Recession was known to everyone, I went to Walmart one day and I noticed everybody with their head down. I was really working on, I've always been one that tries to really realize what's going on around me. It's not just about me, but what is going on around me. That tells me a lot of the health or the sickness of an economy. And one day I was in Walmart and people were walking all over and they were looking down. I was having such a hard time getting people to look me in the eye. Ran home. I grabbed my wife. I said, "You've got to come and see this." What? I'm like, just come. If I tell her what it is, she's not going to want to come. So it's got to be like a surprise. Pull up to Walmart, walk inside. I go, this is the deal. I want you to walk around and I want you to notice every person in this Walmart. And without making noise or hand gestures, I want you to try and get someone to look you in the eye. And I was explaining to her the depression that was setting in, the emotional feeling that we were in recession. It is a real event. Governments and the elites know this, that when people realize that our economies are contracting, they contract. But they do it out of fear and this sort of mentality of a sheep following another sheep. People's shoulders were low, their heads were low, and we walked around, and my wife admitted, "Oh my gosh, it's everyone." And I said, "It's a feeling." This was during the time that Lehman Brothers was collapsing. It was like around end of September, October that this happened. Everybody was sad. Everybody was quiet. Everybody was somber. Nobody was happy. The stock market was cascading downward. You could not turn on the news, and put it down in the comments if you remember what this was like. You could not turn on the news and it not be about the economy. Now, fast forward a few months later, I'm walking with my wife in our local park, and there is a notice uh, from the Downtown Merchants Association. And I couldn't believe what it said. I took a photo. I do not have the phone anymore. I wish I did. And it said, "We have all come together as a Downtown Merchants Association to uh, combat what's going on in the economy. And we have decided that if you are seen speaking ill of the economy, that we, as the owners of these establishments, reserve the right to ask you to leave and will not serve you." Blew my mouth. I mean, talk about jaw-dropping moment. We started going around, and all of the merchants in our local town had that same notice posted on their windows. Now, I took that photo to go back to my church and show people because they had been hearing me screaming from the rooftop to get ready for that crash for 2 years, and nobody listened. And then I had to listen to people coming to church crying that they're having their house taken away or they lost their job, and you're just like, man, if you were just ready for it, you'd be excited because you'd be taking advantage of all these cheap prices. But they didn't. So now here's the story I want to share with you, and I believe this is coming to the United States. China bans negative economic commentary or mentions of deflation. The last time, now remember, in the past, I've done so many videos explaining that deflation doesn't happen all at once. It happens in spurts. It starts one item, right? Starts to deflate. We've already seen shipping and freight deflating. The cost of shipping goods around the country or around the world has severely dropped, right? Even though there's surcharges in some places, by and large, the price per mile has dropped. That's deflation. The price of a big screen TV, you can get all kinds of sales right now. Why? Because nobody's buying them. Those are dropping. So where some things stay high, elevated, they always stay high at the end. What's really going to be sad is you're going to see the real estate fall off a cliff, but you're going to keep food and energy because this is a hyperinflationary scenario that we're going to see, right? Not everything's going to hyperinflate, especially not at once. But it says here, the last time China threatened its analysts and reporters against being bearish on the economy and at odds with the government's bullish statements was in early 2016 when China had suffered through a historic devaluation and capital flight, which drained over 1 trillion in Chinese reserves, and when fears that falling to short circuit the capital flight, which would soon launch Bitcoin off from its base from around 400 to that's when I bought it, to the then cycle high of 20,000 could lead to full-blown economic collapse. Yeah, because I bought my first Bitcoin at $500 in, was it January of 2017? And I was following all of this was going on because Chinese were flooding into the Canadian real estate market into Bitcoin. As the WSJ reported, Wall Street Journal, at the time, the stepped up censorship was an effort by Beijing to quell growing concerns about the country's economic prospects as it experiences a prolonged slowdown in growth, and that to stem what earlier this year was a flood of money leaving the country. Chinese regulators and censors are trying to create a climate dubbed, man, uh, I can't even pronounce that word in Chinese. It starts with a Z. Or positive energy, said the newspaper. In short, Beijing realized that it was of critical importance to preserve confidence in the economy, no matter how fake, and it resorted to the ultimate step indicating that the collapse was nigh. Well, China is doing it all over again, which is keeping with the morning's catastrophic Chinese trade data, confirms just how close to the edge China once again is. As the FT reports, Chinese authorities are again putting pressure on, which is a polite way of saying barring prominent local economists to avoid discussing negative trends such as deflation, and as concerns mount about Beijing's ability to boost a flagging recovery in the world's second biggest economy. According to the report, multiple local brokerage analysts and researchers at leading universities, as well as state run think tanks, said they have been instructed by regulators, their employers, and even domestic media outlets to avoid speaking negatively about topics ranging from fears of capital flight to softening prices. Says 7 well-regarded economists told the Financial Times that their employers had told them some topics were off limit for public discussion. The Chinese Securities and Regulatory Commission, the stock regulator, had accused brokerage analysts of playing up risks facing the economy, which is suffering from weak consumer demand, declining exports, and ailing property sector. I'm going to be honest with you. I believe that is coming to America. I would not be surprised if we started seeing social media outlets censoring, holding back, or shadow banning videos that are speaking negatively about the economy. And the sad thing is, I believe there are a lot of people that would cheer that because so many fools out there that literally believe. And my old neighbor is one of them. He said, "It's people like you that cause the economy to crash." I'm like, "Excuse me?" He says, "Yeah, because you're talking negative. It's almost like you could just, talk positively and oh, everything's going to spring into existence. Oh my gosh, what did I hurt your chakra? This is real." And what that moron, and he is a moron because I watched him retire in 2007. I said, "You're going to need to get our job. We're in trouble." And I was mocked back then too. And he had to go back to work as a janitor after retiring with $1 million in his pension as a concrete contractor owning his own company. He had to go work as a janitor for his local school I'm not joking, he just retired again. That cycle is going to bite him like you wouldn't believe because they still don't own their home. After 2 full careers, still doesn't own his home. I don't know what to say, but I think censorship is coming. Hope you guys have a great day. The Economic Ninja is out.